On this week's gun news, SCOTUS will hear a gun case for the first time in almost 10 years. Illinois will require their FFLs to get a state license. And Roger Frame's nationwide tour as SHOT Show comes to an end. Stay tuned. The Gun News, where we cover the latest news hitting the two-way community as well as industry news. I'm your host, John Crump. Sorry for posting a day late. I was hit by a stomach bug yesterday. Kind of nasty. But this is your news for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. The big news from last week was the announcement that the Supreme Court would hear a gun case. That would be SCOTUS' first gun case involving a firearm since the Heller Part 2 decision in 2010. That case involved DC trying to get around the original Heller decision from 2008. The new case involves New York City's ban on transferring a firearm outside the city. The New York State Pistol and Rifle Association sued because, according to them, the law not only violates the Second Amendment, but it also violates the Congress calls of the Constitution. On the Second Amendment issue, New York City is claiming that they are well within their rights to regulate how and why residents of the city transport their firearms. The second issue that the NYSPRA points out to SCOTUS is that the law runs afoul of the Congress calls of the Constitution. Basically, residents of New York City can't take their guns to their weekend homes or even to a range outside the city. The problem with the law is the transportation of a firearm falls under the Congress clause. Only the federal government can regulate the transportation of a firearm across state lines. Also, only a state can regulate the transportation of firearms inside of state lines. NYC, by constitutional law, cannot regulate the transportation of a firearm if the gun owner takes it across city lines. The state law would preempt the city law. Once the gun crosses state lines, the federal law would preempt both state and local laws. The Second Court of Appeals, which is known for being anti-gun, held up the law to be constitutional, which wasn't surprised by looking at their track record with things such as the Maryland assault weapons ban. But SCOTUS should be different. What we have is Judge Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Samuel Anthony, and Judge Brett Kavanaugh being solidly for expanding gun rights. Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Judge Elena Kagan will probably vote to uphold the law. Judge Roberts will be the deciding vote. Tom King of the NYSPRA told me that there's no way of predicting the outcome of the Supreme Court case. However, we are confident in the merits of the case and look forward to a favorable decision. And I agree with that. SCOTUS will probably hear oral arguments in the fall of 2019 and make a final decision in 2020. Now to a story about a new law in Illinois that requires gun dealers to be licensed by the state. This license must be blessed by the state police. Dealers will have 6 months to pay the $1,500 fee for retail operations and $300 fee for independent dealers. The license will last a period of 5 years. All gun dealers must have a federal firearms license. As a former FFL, I can tell you getting a federal firearms license is not easy. There are a lot of hoops to jump through. Getting fingerprinted, passport photos, background checks, articles of incorporation, zoning permits, leasing agreements, with the mention of firearm sales being allowed at the location, and then getting inspections, getting interviewed, is all part of the FFL. In addition to these, Illinois dealers will have to install security cameras and make recordings available to police on demand. They will also have to get electronic logbooks. Most tabletop dealers still use a paper logbook. Their businesses must be open to on-demand inspections by state and also local police. Moms Demand Action celebrated the new law, but the Illinois State Rifle Association is planning a lawsuit to challenge it. In industry news, SHOT Show wrapped up in Vegas. Our partner website, libertyreport.co, sent Roger Frame out the shot, but Roger ended up being bounced around by JetBlue, taking 6 different flights and ending up in Boston, which is a little ways away from Vegas. JetBlue offered to get Roger to Vegas 6 hours before his return flight back home. So he just took a return flight back home. For all the missed meetings, he and I are truly sorry. But there was a lot of cool guns on display. I absolutely love what Code Red was doing with their AR chambered in 338 Lapua. The Kevin Dixie gun was also quite awesome. I can't wait to get it in my hands. I am kind of split on the Kel-Tec Quad Mag gun. I'm not sure if a Quad Tech Mag is the way to go or not, but I will never know until I get it in my hands. So I'm planning on getting it in my hands, in the hands of our reviewers. That's it for your gun news for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back next week with another gun news. Remember to tune in to the Patriot News podcast on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I am John Crump, and I wish you a good week. Defend the Second Amendment always and never give up your rights. Remember, the Second Amendment is the only right that cannot be taken away, it can only be given away.